Hi everyone, Matt here. I thought I'd talk a little bit about my testosterone injection, just simply because it's not um, what most people think of as a typical injection. And by that I mean, if I compare it, obviously you've got inoculations and insulin and things like that. If I to compare it to insulin, I've not had an insulin injection, but insulin I know is a thin substance and it's administered subcutaneously. So it goes in under the skin, into the fat, injected in a few seconds, pulled out. I've been told it's quite tolerable, whereas my testosterone, I'm on Nebido. It's a very slow acting. Apparently the shelf life of testosterone in your blood is about an hour. So what they need to do is suspend it in something to be released very slowly. If not, it would all just go. And Nebido is actually only injected, roughly, varies, but every 12 weeks. So there's also means you've got this thick, heavy fluid, because it's suspended in oil, that is also a large volume because it's going to last 12 weeks. So if an average, and I'm guessing an average injection, if you think of like the thin little syringes that you get, is probably under 1 mil, like 80 cc or something like that. Whereas Nebido is 4 mils. So that's a lot more fluid going, and it's intramuscular, so it has to go through into the muscle. Because of the volume of fluid, it can't go into your thigh or your arm because the muscle isn't big enough. It has to go into your glute, which means you obviously need to know where to do it and avoid the sciatic nerve and veins and things like that. It also, because of the volume, needs to be injected very slowly. So my nurse typically does it over about 5 minutes. So imagine standing there for 5 minutes. Literally, that's a long time. Someone pushing fluid into you. I personally think that's quite long. The manufacturer's recommendation is 2 minutes, but I think slower is better than too fast. For one thing, it would hurt a lot more because the muscle isn't going to like that much fluid going into it very quickly, where it can't disperse while it's going in. But also there's a risk, the complications that can happen is with any oily injection, and particularly because it's the volume of this one, is that you can get what they call an oil embolism. Now, my understanding of this is that if it's injected too quickly, the oil gets pushed into the bloodstream, which isn't what you want, and then it travels around and it can get into your heart or your lungs, which obviously is not a good thing. Again, what I've been told that this is not a very pleasant thing if it happens, and you'll get symptoms like shortness of breath, giddiness. So obviously you're going to be panicking and not knowing. It's quite a scary thing to happen. But I've also told it's completely irreversible. So it's medically nothing to majorly be concerned about, but you do need treatment. I think in the form of oxygen, and so that's why it has to be done slowly. And I think even if done slowly, there is a risk that could happen, but that is quite rare. So to sum up, it's an oily, thick injection that has to go into a muscle, which is worse than the fat, and the volume of it is high, which is obviously quite uncomfortable and has more risk for the oil embolism. So that's like I say, that's not your typical injection that you think of when you go and have an inoculation or something in a few seconds. But having said all this, it's perfectly tolerable. It's not particularly pleasant and could be a bit sore, but it's well worth it. So yeah, that's my testosterone injection. If you've got any more questions, please ask away. Take care. Bye bye.